Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Let'sPlay, some PoE with our good friend Gamorrean the Pig Man. We are gonna head down to Alfred's house. Can I run there on here? Oh, I could just do it this way. Yeah, we're gonna head down there. It's now night. I don't know if that means anything. God, I love this double speed mode. That's so good. Clink. Are we gonna get more of these weird things? Drop the bass. Okay. I'm just gonna read this pretty quick. Slox the Usurper. Oh, jeez. Okay. Interesting. I will hopefully talk to those guys someday when I don't just see their pasts only. Alpha. It's a cat. Meow. Meow. A dry wooden woman is standing in front of the fireplace, humming a quiet tune to herself, or perhaps to her unborn child, for she's clearly quite pregnant. She turns her head slightly as you enter.
Good day, stranger.
Well, finally I was starting to think, oh, I'm sorry, I was expecting someone else. Can I help you? What are you expecting? My sister, Kalisha, is traveling with one of the caravans. She sent a letter before she came. Said she's going to pay her way by working as a guard for the caravan master. She always was a tough one. I don't suppose you've seen her on the road, or the caravan perhaps? It's Master Adema's. The caravan was attacked and we escaped, but Kalisha was caught in a bivouac. Ofra covers her mouth with the hand, eyes wide with horror. For a few moments she can manage nothing but a strangled, voiceless gasping, her eyes brimming with tears. I knew. I told her it was a dangerous path to take. Kalisha was always so certain she could take on any danger. Oh, my poor sister. I'm sorry, stranger. I just can't believe she's gone. If only I hadn't called her here. If I hadn't written to her, she might still be alive somewhere. Please don't cry. I don't know how to handle women crying. Maybe I can help. Offer looks at you with some surprise before dabbing at her nose with the sleeve. It's kind of you to offer, but I don't know what if I could oppose this on you. It's not a small favor. I'm worried about the baby, about the legacy. I told Kalisha as much as I could, but all I know is that for a long time now, every child born in Gildan Vale has been soulless, empty. It's happened to so many mothers, and Lord Raedric, he's exiled all of them, calling it a sign of the gods' disfavor. With my Hathord gone, I don't know how I'd manage if I lost my home, too. Hoped Kalisha could help me. They say Ranga, the old midwife, knows a way to prevent a child being hollowborn, but she moved south to Anslug's Compass 2 seasons ago. The journey's too far for me, and I can't make it as I am. But I don't have anyone else now, with Kalisha gone. Please, can you help me? I'll find Ranga for you. You will? Oh, God bless you. Here, I'll give you coin to pay her with. You needn't trouble yourself with it. I think it's a drink she fashions out of, well, I'm not sure, but it shouldn't be too much of a burden to carry back. Anslug's Compass is what we call the lagoon to the south. You'll have to cross the wilds to get there. That's what keeps me from trying it myself. Thank you again, truly. You'll be saving us both. Poor Alfra. Yep. Poor Alfra. Alright. So where are we going? I guess what's next to look at? Probably down here? I told her, that's not the pistol! Oh. Is this the bar? Heavier armor grants more protection, but extends recovery for its wearers. The Black Hound. The hound stares intently at the covered window, head cocked as if waiting to hear a particular sound. He looks up when you approach and whines a low note, tail wagging slightly. Pet the dog. Yay, we pet the dog.
Keeping quiet.
Oh god, there's a bunch of, like, weird dubstep people. Yeah, okay, enough of that. In-guest. Please leave me be. 10 Years of Dawn. Well, we're not reading that on live. No, thank you. Roaches scatter and flee under the crates. Ew. Ooh, I can't open this. Yes. What do we get? Okay, some... Oh my god, yes. That's mine. The rest of the stuff can go to the stash. Hold on a second. Yeah! Yeah, this is perfect. Alright, well, our costume is now complete. Things are as they should be. Let's go down. Okay. Storm Brightblade, Selena Vertivo. Poisons. Very sad. Ooh. Swainer's here.
Good day,
Pasca. Oh, greetings, welcome to the Blackhound Inn. The innkeeper bows her head curtly. Please sit where you'd like. Would you like a drink or a room? We have 2 available at the moment, I'm afraid. We can't offer much in the good way of a meal. Unless you're fond of cold porridge. Everyone looking for work. Oh, well. I wouldn't say I can speak from experience. We do have certain sorts coming by, looking for work from time to time. If you want to hire someone on, I'd be happy to send them away. Level 1 adventurer. No companions available to hire. Ooh, interesting. We can get bonuses if we take rest in certain places. Neat.
Hello.
Don't know who you are and don't much care. Keep walking. We're not here to chat with foreigners. Sights at the mill. What is that about? Well, someone fancies themselves a meddler, eh? What's this about? It's about Tumble thinking he's king of the town on account of he's got the mill to his name. It's about him barely giving us anything for the wheat we bring him and then cutting our purses when we need to buy grain. It's about farmers going hungry while some bastard gets rich off their crops. That's what's fucking about. Now shove off. Trumbull says you've been threatening his family. Oh, I'd bet he has. All nobility, that Trumbull. 2 big, strong kids. Purest soul in all of Gilded Vale. Coward sending out messengers to handle his business. Well, you can go and tell him we haven't had a solid meal in days on account of him. We can't afford a good drink on account of him. But we won't be bullied by some foreigner on account of him. If you want to fight with Trumbull, let's make it a fair one. Hey, hold on there. No need to get nasty. Won't go near the miller. Blazes, we haven't done a thing to him. We're just hungry is all. Looks like that isn't changing. You want to side with that rotten bastard? You go right ahead. You and this whole fucking town. Interesting. Okay, one more thing, then we'll go take a nap. Characters endures reduced to 0. They have a nap. You see 4 people gathered by the door to the inn. Their raised voices chopping gestures suggest an argument reaching its climax. The first figure raises his hands for calm. His face is partially obscured by a hood, but his height and stature suggest an elf.
I meant no offense. Let's put this matter to rest over a round, shall we? My treat.
Hoping to soothe our pride with a few Adira coppers, eh? We don't need your coin.
Just watch. One of the other men glares at the hooded elf. His eyes are red from drink, but his gaze is focused. You've got a lot of gall mocking us in our own village. We don't take ill treatment from foreigners, especially not Adirans.
Go on. Say it again. I'm itching for an excuse.
Why, you're itching for the kindling touch of your sister, you cocksfeather!
I'll cut that barrel-licking tongue out of your head.
This is a misunderstanding. I didn't say... whatever it is you think I said. We've nigh quarrel.
That's where you're wrong.
Don't think attacking him's such a good idea. And why is that? He's reaching for something, and since not the rapier at his side is either a wand or a throwing dagger, you don't look like you're ready to deal with either. Sweet. As the three stumble away, the elf turns to you. The tension almost gone from his smooth face.
Not quite how I hope to get to know the neighbors. Thank you for your timely assistance with that awkward situation.
You're welcome.
Courtesy is a rare pleasure in these parts. Though your accent suggests that you are no more local than I.
Though I know. He straightens his hood, and you note the remains of fraying embroidery on his gloves. His boots are caked with the dirt of many months' travel, but the leatherwork beneath is sturdy and fine.
Introductions are in order after that little fiasco. Aloth Corvusser, at your service.
How did you manage to get stuck out here? That is something of a long story.
I'm a wizard by training, and an adventurer by necessity. I was born in the Seathwood, part of the mainland of the Adir Empire, and both of my parents served the nobility, which afforded me an education for which I am grateful. However, there were no open positions in those houses, and so I decided to seek new means in a new land. And how exactly did you come to be here?
Traveling with a caravan, but we're separated.
Oh, those can be dangerous places during the best of times, which these are not. And half the locals would arrest you for trespassing, and the rest would kill you outright. I'm curious, what exactly did you find there?
Yeah! Several hooded figures operating a strange machine. Aloth goggles at you silently, apparently assessing your earnestness. Finally, he gives you a clipped, awkward laugh.
You managed to find yourself in rather interesting predicaments.
No kidding. Just how did you manage to cross those three drunks?
That was a matter of misunderstandings and mistranslations. It doesn't help that people in these parts remember their war with Adir like it was yesterday.
You did tell that one man to go fuck his sister. Ah, that. As I tried to tell them, they misheard me. It happens all too easily after a few pints, and the accent doesn't help. I see. What are you doing in the Gildan Vale?
I came looking for fresh air and cheap land. Instead, the magistrate gave me directions to the inn and a story about the local lord's expectant wife. But I take it that's a familiar tale.
No kidding. Experiencing strange things of late, looking for an expert on souls.
Indeed. The local lord has searched far and wide for similar specialists. He has rid himself of them almost as desperately.
His starting glance takes in the tumble-down buildings and the fallow, rock-strewn fields.
Begging your pardon, but neither do you. Yet, circumstances can find a person in the strangest of places.
You should
As
get
should
going.
I, given recent events. It's just as well. I've had enough of the watered wine and lumpy beds at the inn. They say even the owner tired of the place. Just up and left one day. It explains quite a lot about the upkeep. Perhaps I could join you. I could use a change of scenery, and I find it's better to travel in numbers.
So do I. Let's go then.
I shall follow.
Yay! Aloth has joined the party. Alright. What do we got? So we're heading out east. Southeast to Gilded Vale. South to Anslug's Compass. I don't know how to pronounce that right. If I'm pronouncing it wrong, Swainers. Let's get some rest. Let's go to the temple. That should be interesting. I thought you could do this. You can queue a string of actions. Yeah, I was trying to do that earlier, but it was not letting me, unfortunately. I don't know why.
I shall be discreet.
A rising sun. Who's this? A man lies resting against the wall, lit by the dim illumination of the fading sconces. He has a gaunt, fox-like aspect, and his face is pale and damp with sweat. One arm is held loosely against his side, sleeve soaked in blood. He gives you an anxious glance as you near, his features twisted with pain. Have a care if you mean to go in. This place is not so empty as I thought. The temple isn't what it used to be, probably for the best, times being as they are. He groans and shifts position, wincing. I'm no looter, if that's what you're thinking. Not one of the faithful either. Just wanted to do some good, I suppose. Got my arm clawed up for it. Maybe you'd have better luck. What happened to you? I was trying to avoid the spiders. Ran into a skull there. Might have gone a little better for me if the beast hadn't knocked the sword right out of my hand. Good played, too. Probably still lying there in the dust. But I'm not, so that's alright. It's not a bad wound, I think. Just hurts. It's sword for you. It's kind of you, but there's no need. I wasn't doing me any good. You're welcome to it, though, if you find it. And more, if you help me get something more important. With the arm like this, I could use your help. These ruins around us used to be a temple of Iothus, the scatter god. A grand temple at that. His worshippers would come from all over the Drywood. From Red Caress, even. Till the war, of course. Even then, you'd get some of the stubborn ones. The ones that couldn't get it through their heads that their god was dead and gone. Go on. Once the legacy started, Lord Raedric decided he'd been too lenient on the Eothasians. He had his people go in and put them to the sword, left them down there, buried under a heap of rock. After that, Raedric ordered the temple sealed. It's been years, like that, up until recently. Lord Raedric hopes that if we rededicate the temple to a living god, then we'll be forgiven, and legacy will end, you see? Until then, the temple is as you see it, unguarded. That's where you come in. Those priests, maybe they didn't have a lick of sense between them, but they still deserve to go like that. Chopped down in their god's house. Doesn't sit right with me. If you want to get down there, find their remains, maybe we can finally give them a proper burial. No small task. There's coin in it for you, if you need motivating. Alice's cautious expression softens. Pleasant surprise to see that someone around here has a shred of respect for the dead. I'll find them. And by the flame, I owe you a good turn. But listen, the temple's been sealed off for so long, it's crawling with creatures. But if you get past them, the priests would have been down on the lowered floor. They'll be there still if they're anywhere. Those priests had all kinds of secret chambers, switches in the walls, trick sconces, that kind of thing. Keep an eye out, and take care down there. I wouldn't want to have to send someone else after your remains. I'll wait here by the stairs and keep a lookout. Maybe try to patch myself up. Buried secrets. Cool. Alright. Let's have a nap. First things first. Nap time. Is that guy still here? Hey there. Yeah, just welcome to our lovely village. Welcome to our lovely village. I want to take. I think I'll probably end up taking the mechanics, the good room, quote unquote.
How do you do?
I'd like one room, please. Stash. Let's throw in the ring, because I'm not cheating. Obviously, Eloth needs a stupid hat. Yeah, no, your hood's better. Torch is fine, that guy. Ooh, interesting. Books. Ah, I see how it works. You stash, then nap. Your sleep is restless and fevered, assaulted by hisses and whispers, blanketed with the suffocating anxiety. You open your eyes to awaken and find yourself in front of Gilded Vale's gallows tree, the creaking of its ropes growing louder in your mind until the sound is deafening. Hanging from the tree is an old dwarf woman whose face is shriveled inward like moldering fruit. Her head hangs limply to one side. As you look at her, she looms larger and larger in your mind until she's mere inches from your face. Suddenly, her head snaps up and her eyes open, and they are empty behind them and behind them is a vast nothingness that makes your stomach drop. Her mouth slowly parts, and with a gust of rancid air, she speaks a word. Watch her. You jolt awake. The foul smell of the dwarf woman's breath still permeating your nostrils. Sweat runs down your face in thick droplets, and your skin is soaked from head to toe. You remember the woman. You remember seeing her decaying face when you spoke with the magistrate. He called her an animancer. Though it fills you with a new, queasy apprehension, you feel a strange compulsion to see this woman once more, if only to confirm that she's truly dead. Well, that didn't effing help. Oh, go sleep it off. You'll be fine. No, nightmares. Dead dwarves. That's all we get. Fuck. Alright. Let's go look at the corpse. The squat, distended body of an elderly dwarf woman dangles from a thin, crooked bough that sags at the tug of her noose. The bloated purple flesh of her neck, worn away in patches like moth-eaten linen, bulges over the rope that suspends her, and her lifeless head lolls forward rigidly from one side to the other when the breeze shifts. You perceive a faint glow around her that casts no light on its surroundings, but there's a tepid warmth to it. You feel somehow that you could reach out and touch it. Not with your hands, with some aspect of yourself that has no worldly dimension. Drop the bass! You take a deep breath, clearing your mind, focusing on your objective. As you exhale, you feel yourself spreading out towards the hanging woman, perceiving all that lies between you and her with new, unfamiliar awareness. Once you've expanded enough to reach her, there's a sudden jolt to your mind, a ringing, electric surge of images and words and sounds. Involuntarily, you shut your eyes and feel yourself being pulled down into some deeper consciousness in a space occupied only by you and the hanging woman, and when you open them again, she's staring at you with eyes clouded in a milky fog. Her body still swaying in a wind you no longer feel from a tree that stands planted in a misty void. The woman gives a slow nod of her head, the rope creaking as she does so, and smiles at you. Have you come?
Have you come here for me, dear? Or have you gotten lost? Ah, it is both, I think. Yes?
I think I survived the bivouac. You know why that would happen to be?
Did you now, dear? My, that would be something, wouldn't it? Could be luck, could certainly be. A storm can be a careless thing. Or maybe it got its hands around your soul but couldn't pick it up. A soul can be heavy if it stayed in one piece through its time. Strong souls, we call them in the trade. Cold, I mean. Called them. Those days are all behind me, no?
You said souls break apart over time?
Oh, yes. Entropy. Rimagan's work. We know little of why or how. We lose pieces of ourselves when we die and pick up pieces of others when we are born again, but less than what we lost. We tried to stop it with the animantic sciences, but with little success. No. A very small few resist Rimergan's influence and stay together through some force of defiance, at least for a time. But they all succumb eventually, I think.
Are you able to speak to me?
Is that what we're doing? Perhaps it just seems that way. Perhaps it is the easiest way for your mind to make sense of it. I think it is a very good choice.
God, I think I need to understand something that's happened to me. She nods, a look of pity on her face, as though consoling a child.
The world looks a little different than it used to, is that it? Feels like you're noticing things for the first time that have always been there. You have seen past the shroud. It only takes an instant. Your soul remembers, yes? Remembers how it sees when it leaves the body, like being reminded of a dream you had forgotten. You are a watcher now, and a watcher you will stay.
It's a watcher.
What indeed? Long hours have many animancers spent studying such things. Not I, though. Not I. I'll tell you what I know, though, since fair is fair. And here we are, visiting, you and I, and it reminds me of better times. Souls pass on. Some say through Audra stones, which are the blood veins of the world. They leave the world for a time and are reborn into it, sometimes more than they were before, but usually less and seldom the same. For all souls there is a time where they do not live, yet have not passed on, and those souls roam the world, same as you or I, either leaving or lost. But no one sees them because they have forgotten how. A watcher sees, though, knows what to look for. And sometimes they know a person just by looking at them, know where they've been in ages past when their bodies were other bodies. See memories even their owner can't recall. A wonder to behold when all goes well. A wonder!
Hold on, what did you mean when all goes well?
Oh, nothing to be afraid of, I'm sure. It's just much to take in for some. Sometimes there's trouble sleeping or other difficulties. You should see old Merwald. He could tell you much more than I. A watcher just like you. Helped many in his day. Took up in an old keep no one would claim. Not far, not far. Kanua, beyond the Black Meadow. He will welcome the company.
Alright, I want to know something about you, Caldara.
Me? I'll bore you to tears, though.
It's an animancer.
A student of the soul. Something so basic, yet so poorly understood. But so many breakthroughs have been made in my lifetime. Had been made. Had been. To hear the locals tell it, we're a gang of soul manglers that preys upon the weak-minded. And the worst of us are. But the best of us, the best? Inspirations, miracle workers. My parents were soul twins. Miserable before they met, empty inside. It was an animancer who helped one find the other, turned their lives around. You wouldn't believe the stories. Amnesiacs helped to remember their lives. The suicidal brought back from the brink of oblivion. The elderly afforded extra moments to say their goodbyes. How soon we forget when we're afraid. It's a fascinating science. A fascinating time to be alive in a place like Deerwood that does not control the research, no? I love the Valian Republics for many things, but their recent caution will leave them behind, I fear.
What happened to you? She laughs, a rasping, choked cackle escaping between rows of buttery yellow teeth, causing her body to bob up and down with each spasm. Seeing your blank expression, she catches herself.
Oh, come now. Such a question. As though the answer were plain as a rope tied for strangling. Allow an old dwarf her last bit of cheer.
I like Caldara.
Well, I came where I was needed, didn't I? Offered my services to Lord Radric for a pittance. A humble pittance. I was to examine the Lord's wife, see why the gods have seen fit to poison her womb. Studied her for months, looked high and low for impurities, tested her valence, the permeability of her essence. Do you know what I found?
Tell me.
Nothing at all. A healthy woman, head to toe, blessed with a beautiful soul. Such a sweet woman, too. Meek, but warm-hearted. A few months' time, and the lord of the house demanded answers. For a time, I told him what he wanted to hear. Oh, yes, my lord. She is riddled with imbalances. I must have time to cure her. As the birth drew near, he grew impatient, as lords do. And this is where I've ended up. Of course, dear.
Farewell, Caldara.
Goodbye, my dear. It was lovely visiting.
Caldara closes her eyes and her head slumps forward over the noose, and your surroundings seem to bleed into your vision from some unknown place of waiting. Are you alright? You seemed lost just now. I can do Kung Fu. This happens a lot. You'll have to get used to it. That's good to know, but I don't suppose you could tell me what that was all about? I'm a watcher. Well, that is interesting. And I expect this has something to do with the hooded figure in the ruins, hmm? In any case, I appreciate your honesty. Since we're traveling together, it's probably wise for us to share these things. Do you know anything about the watchers? Only that they're rare and that they seem to have unique insights into certain soul conditions, as you just demonstrated. Let's continue on. It's the Old Watcher. Oh, crap. I forget how to pronounce that. Cade Nua? Southeast.
17 and a half.
17 and a half? The smell of pipe smoke, at once earthy and sweet, winds its way into your nostrils. Your eyes trace the smoke to its origin, where you find a broad man with straw-colored hair leaning against a mossy rock wall. His pipe held to his lips with one meaty hand. He looks you directly in the eye, but the look is not aggressive. He regards you with a peculiar
17
smirk.
and a half. Well, could be 18, depending on how you count the dwarf woman.
I'm sorry?
You were trying to figure out whether to count her as a full person. I think you oughta.
What you talking
In
about?
the tree. 18 of them. Well, last I counted, anyway.
Is that what you people do for fun around
Name's
here?
Adair. Though to the people around here, might as well be 19. Don't think I'd put you much higher than 22, 23 tops. You look like the sort that likes to get involved.
Makes you think I was interested in the adult woman. He looks at you a moment, his brows arched. His smirk
I was
broadens.
smoking over here, saw you staring at her. Twice I refilled my pipe. You never so much as blinked. Your mouth was so slack I took you for a Radric at first.
Impossible. I don't rule half as much. Ha! So you're already familiar. Still, you have to forgive my curiosity. Around here, we prefer to turn a blind eye to our dead. Do you know what the Watcho is?
Let's not use that word round here. Could be any number of Radric bootlickers within earshot. Ciphers, animancers, watchers. Same thing in the eyes of folks around here, Radric especially. They come through these parts all the time with their cures, preying on the desperate. None of them are who they claim to be. Of course, seeing you with that funny look, I'd be halfway inclined to believe you were having some kind of communion with that dwarf. Either case, maybe I'm not 19 after all. No offense.
Not taken. Good, they don't mean it personal when they hang folks here. I have to remind myself.
Had it in for me for a long time now. Only fellow who ever stuck up for me, well, he's number 18 up there. My headman on the farm. Used to be my captain during the war.
Why was your headman hanged? Got involved. Radric sent men down here the other day, said they had it on good authority someone in town was working with Kolsch, plotting Redric's overthrow. Said if he didn't come forward right then and there, they'd hang every last one of us. No one was coming forward, so Swithin, that's my headman, he steps up and says it's him. Took him at his word. He sighs and shakes his head, his eyes fixed on the tree. Bound to happen sooner or later, if not for plotting against Redric, then for protecting me. Who's Kolsch? Someone who got tired of all the hangings. He's on the run now. Probably will be until they catch him. What does the town have against you?
God. That's what it comes down to. Used to be a lot of Vathus worshippers in Gilded Vale. That mess of rocks over there, that was a temple to him, to give you some idea. Then one day, somebody named Widewind shows up on Deerwood's doorstep. Says he's the living flesh of Aethys. Got an army with him. Suddenly, Aethys isn't so popular in these parts. My brother Woden and me, neither of us believed it. No way was that Aethys. He enlisted, then I did too. But, he didn't make it back. After the war, people took to punishing Aethys worshippers, accusing them of treason. Got real ugly, especially after the legacy started. Folks needed someone to blame. I was safe because I fought, but then this rumor starts that my brother, that he was on the wrong side. And I wasn't so safe anymore. Until my headman stepped in and said they'd have to hang him to get to me. Seems that's no longer a concern. Of course, the townies don't do the hanging these days, but when Radric's men come, they got no problem doing the pointing.
You can see why I was eager to leave. If you're next to be hanged, what are you still doing here? Drinking, mostly. Point of fact, I'm on my way out. Just haven't figured where I'm going yet. Not a whole lot of places out there that don't think Wadewin's legacy started with Wadewin. Could travel together. Where are you headed? Some place called Kaldnua. There's an old watcher there who might be able to help me.
Seem to remember hearing something about that years ago. He tamed that place. People would seek him out for all kinds of things. Troubles of the soul, questions for the departed. Of course, that was back when you didn't have to say Watcher with a hush on your breath. A man such as that, there'd be things I'd want to ask him. Don't know why I never thought of it before. Not sure how I feel about setting out with a stranger, and a strange one at that. But truth be told, you might be the only one in town who wouldn't feel some relief seeing me swing from that tree.
There's a fine reason if I ever heard one.
All right then. Guess I'll do some sightseeing. Long as you're not the one picking the sights.
What's the war about? Saints' War, only one in my lifetime. Fella decides his living incarnation of Aethos. Overthrows Red at Chris. Marches on Deerwood. So we gave him a Deerwoodian hello. What's a Deerwoodian hello?
Blew him up.
I thought the questions. Let's get going. Yeah, man.
Huh?
Got a bro now. What does he have? A saber.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, we've got the party's gathering. Thinking I might head back up here and we'll pop off an episode here as we're guys are running down. Folks, thanks for joining me. Things are going pretty well. And I got a ridiculous hat, and that's awesome.
Sure.
Good old PoE. I mean, Pearls of Eternity, not Path of Exile.